Turtles occupy a strange space on the tree of life. They are armored, highly adaptable creatures that navigate deep water and dry land with equal ease. To achieve this unique anatomy, their ancient ancestors reorganized their bodies over 40 million years. Separate ribs widened and fused to create a solid shell. Vertebrae shifted, shoulders repositioned, and their skulls and limbs learned to retract inside. Because this anatomical transformation was so extensive, it wiped out the standard skeletal markers paleontologists typically rely on to map out a species family tree. The very trait that defines a turtle, its shell, acts as an evolutionary disguise, obscuring the physical evidence of its ancestry. For a long time, the leading candidate for the first turtle ancestor was Unitosaurus africanus, an ancient reptile dating back 260 million years. Unitosaurus possessed an unusually broad set of ribs. Paleontologists interpreted this skeletal anomaly as the early structural foundation for a modern shell, but modern genetic testing introduced a contradiction. DNA sequencing repeatedly places turtles in different company, pointing instead to a shared lineage with crocodiles. This genetic profile implies that turtles belong to a larger group known as Archosauromorphs, a lineage that includes everything from early flying pterosaurs to modern avian species. The physical rocks pointed in one direction, while the molecular code pointed in another. The search for the turtle's origin reached a deadlock. To bypass the misleading exterior of the shell, Dr. Xavier A. Jenkins and his research team realized they needed to look inside the fossils themselves. Working out of the American Museum of Natural History and the University of the Witwatersrand, the team launched a structural analysis. They gathered 226 ancient specimens and used X-ray imaging to peer through the obstructing rock, digitally isolating the interior structures of the bones. Deep inside the brain case, scans revealed the laterosphenoid, connecting the brain to the skull roof. Scanning down, they identified a free-floating stapes bone for complex hearing and a hooked fifth metatarsal in the foot. These internal traits preserved an evolutionary history that the development of the shell did not overwrite. When the team reviewed the data, they found that the broad-ribbed Unitosaurus lacked these markers. However, the earliest known shell turtles possessed them, matching the interior anatomy of ancient birds and crocodiles. The physical evidence aligned with the molecular data. The bones corroborated the DNA sequences. This specific combination of skull, ear, and foot structures places turtles within the Archosauromorph family, sharing an evolutionary branch with dinosaurs and pterosaurs. The physical fossils were not lying. New technology simply allowed researchers to see the evidence they were hiding. A single study rarely settles a decades-long debate immediately, and ongoing scrutiny is how the scientific method verifies new claims. Tyler Lyson, a vertebrate paleontologist who published research on the subject in 2016, maintains that the broad-ribbed Unitosaurus is still a valid ancestral candidate despite the new X-ray data. Meanwhile, Spencer G. Lucas, a curator specializing in paleontology, argues against the new Archosaur classification, suggesting turtles remain too biologically unusual to easily group with either lineage. This academic friction forces researchers to continually test their hypotheses, making the accepted science stronger over time. The search for the turtle's origin shows that even familiar creatures can hide anatomical details that require 21st-century technology to reveal.